All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Let's see if it has BSS with its main Google search. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we take declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographers in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that and, whatever, pinned post, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if we're falling, we're missing somewhere on this, intent ladder. We're not capturing the amount of people we need to at each intent step or intent level. So we see over on the left, BSS, that's what we talk about here. That's the highest intent people doing, social search, Google search. And then over on the right, the lowest intent people, that's BLCS, that's our other brand, Boudoir Facebook Ad Doctor. That's what we're working with Boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand per month on their Boudoir Facebook ads. But BSS, that's what we care about today. So care about the highest intent people right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1, and we're invisible. We're basically dead. And that's because that means we're on page 2 or deeper, and we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past the first page. That's literally page 1 only. So those 20%ers, we don't care about them. We want to deal with the 80%. 80%ers, the bulk of people. Now, 1 slot on page 1 also is not good for us because we look like everyone else on page 1. If there's 9 other boudoir photographers and everyone's got one link, then the searcher, the buyer, is simply going to click, literally click and opens everyone's website, contact everyone. We don't stand out at all. Probably won't even remember our name. So boudoir search sameness, boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Extremely common, but it's not normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. First deeper root cause is market saturation, which most know about. The second one is the false belief of page 1 equality, which most people do not know about. Now, the market saturation, that's where it seems like every week someone gets a new iPhone, they throw up their Google My Business profile, and they say they shoot boudoir, they got their website up, they're competing with us to rank on page 1. Basically, more boudoir photographers over time competing for the same number of buyers, so it makes it harder, more difficult for everyone to compete. So that's consistently pushing people out of page 1 onto page 2, and effectively invisible to 80% of searchers that never even go to page 2. Now the new one here, we got the false belief of page 1 equality. This is new because people have kind of auto accepted it because there's never really a word to describe this. For people to say, oh, I agree with that or I disagree with that or I think it's true or false or whatever. But the false belief of page 1 is equality is basically assuming, getting 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google is the default. It's the norm. Everyone either has 0 slots or 1 slot, and maybe you had 1 slot on Google page 1, but market saturation puts us off to page 2. So all right, we got 0 slots on page 1, we got 1 slot on page 2, and all right, that's how it is. That's how being a boudoir photographer is. But no, actually, we can actually take as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the work for. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in 10 days. So this kind of page 1 equality assumption or like default belief, default assumption is 100% incorrect, which we'll see in a few more pictures down here. We also know that a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Yeah, it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. I mean, if you got 0 slots on page 1, you're definitely disappearing. 1 slot on page 1 probably also disappearing as well because there may be some other people that got 2 slots on page 1, and we're not at 1 slot. We're not saying that at all. We're basically invisible. We're being price shopped against everyone. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine where once someone becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and they don't fight against it, then pretty soon, eventually, the entire business disappears as well. So it's kind of the canary in the coal mine of what can happen in the next future in the business. So BSS, luckily we got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. We invented this, been working on it for about 7 months now. We're liking the results so far, so we're bringing it to market. And to utilize S-cubed methodology, remember it's social search saturation, so we saturate search on Facebook search, Instagram search, TikTok search, YouTube search with what our people searching for boudoir photo shoots would be typing in. So we show up there. And once we do that, that actually flows over to Google. So saturating social search actually flows over to Google kind of as a byproduct, giving us multiple links on page one. And again, I went from 0 out of 10 links on page one to 9 out of 10 links on page one for what I wanted to rank for in 10 days. And so the magic about this is the only way someone can use this is if they crash, if they destroy that false belief of page one equality. Because once we use S-cubed methodology, and once you actually see these results I got, we'll realize, oh, that belief was actually false. Page one equality is not the norm. Google actually will give us as many links as we want to put in the effort to acquire, as many page one links. And so the second magical thing about S-cubed methodologies is it's the only thing I've seen that actually fights back against market saturation. So imagine if there's, we're a boudoir photographer in LA, and there's a total of 1 million boudoir photographers in LA. Everyone's got their own website. So everyone's, fiercely competing to be page one on Google. But imagine we take the S-cubed methodology to the extreme where we rank so hard for the highest intent keywords for people searching for boudoir photo shoots. And, we absolutely crush social search saturation, where literally like the first 300 slots of any and every search related to boudoir is us. So it's around all the social platforms that flows over to Google. And let's say the first 300 organic results on Google are only us as well, because we took S-cubed methodology to the max. So the fact that there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers actually doesn't matter to us, because for the first 300 slots, anywhere somebody looks for a boudoir photo shoot in LA, we're the only ones there. They got to go down to slot like 301, and Google is 10 organic slots per page, so they got to go to page like 31 to find another boudoir photographer. So whose business is still doing great? Ours, even though there's literally 999,999 other boudoir photographer competitors. So this is one of the special things about S-cubed methodology. It's the only thing I've seen that actually, builds momentum and helps us compete against market saturation. That can happen relatively quickly. The only other second thing would be brand. People doing branded searching for our brand specifically, but that takes years. So this is something that happens way faster than years to build a brand. And now once treated with S-cubed methodology, we now have page one visibility. So we're actually seen on page one, even though, we may have had one slot on page one, we're still kind of invisible. But with page one visibility, we got 2. Well, we go for the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here for local search and city search. But the added bonus is every new slot we take up on page one, we are kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible, because approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They stay on page 1. And as a result, kind of as we take 4 out of 10 slots, 5 out of 10 slots, 6 out of 10 slots, people searching for at least the 80%, the big chunk we're going for, they can only price shop us or compare us against 2, 3, 4 boudoir photographers instead of against 9, because they ain't going to page 2 anyways. And so this is one of the other bonuses. It's actually kicks our competitors out of basically being found. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, because we're no longer at a 0 or 1. We're no longer at 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and boudoir search for So we're actually standing out. Well, 0, 1, and we won't get to 3 because there may actually be someone else that has 2. I mean, one's most common, two is kind of rare. But if we got 3 out of 10, we're ultra rare. And we're definitely standing out against people that have 1 slot each, and still standing out against people that got 2 slots. It's probably only one other person. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. And this is our university disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Once we accept page 1 equality is false, now we know, okay, now we can tackle it, we can solve it. The only thing I know that can solve it is S-cubed methodology. It actually solves, the only thing I know that can solve both false belief of page 1 equality and market saturation. We achieve page 1 visibility, we become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, so these are my results actually doing, so ranking for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So that's what I want to rank for. So we got the AI overview, got the Google Map Pack. Now looking at organic. So I got organic slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. So I got 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google. And this was after I went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And kicked everyone else off page 1. I took it over. And this is showing the power of the S-cubed methodology, where Google wants to give these page 1 slots to the people that want the page 1 slots the most, and to be relevant to the user search. So these slots are always up for grabs for everyone that wants them. So now we're going to check out, we're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS kind of basis for all this stuff. So let's see. So we're going to do a search, boudoir photography Las Vegas. All right, so we got boudoir photography Las Vegas, Nevada. So let's see. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, there we go. All right, we got 1 out of 10. Nice. All right, we got 1 out of 10. So we do have BSS, boudoir search sameness, because we got 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google search for high intent keywords here. And ideally, we would want to get to our GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, because then we can basically guarantee we're not a disappearing boudoir photographer. At minimum, we're treading water, or we could actually be growing. So we do want to get to 3 out of 10. All right, so if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local search, your city, local searches, city searches with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you got 0 1 slots for any of them, at least one of them, and or you're not reaching the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for at least one of them, and you've accepted the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. So we can actually take as many slots on page 1 Google search as we want. Then, well, Anderson S-cubed methodology is the only solution to give you those slots, and it's actually something you've been waiting for. And you're loving the initial benefits, more slots page 1 Google search, kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1 Google search, relegating them to page 2 or page 3 or deeper, and never actually having to kind of deal with them as competitors anymore, making them disappear to approximately 80% of Google searches, so approximately 80% of the market. And you understand the market saturation, yeah, more peeps buy new gear eventually become boudoir photographers, yeah, they kind of trickle in over time. But you're looking ahead and you're seeing, okay, AI is taking peeps jobs right now, and AI is definitely going to get better and better, so it's going to take more and more peeps jobs over time. And you understand, last time that happened, lots of peeps lost their job. COVID, massive wave of boudoir photographers came into the marketplace. You're like, uh-oh, massive market saturation is coming, and you're realizing you actually need to fortify your position on page 1, which means have so many links that Google wants to rank on page 1 that there's not enough space to rank them all. So you're actually link stuffing page 2, 3, 4 onward, and basically guaranteeing no current boudoir photographer can get onto page 1, and basically no future boudoir photographer that comes after AI takes their job can ever get onto page 1. And you're saying, well, how to get that many links? So you're saying, oh, SQ methodology, that's the only solution. I can give you that fortification. And you're also understanding that when we successfully execute SQ methodology every single day, we're actually creating we're actually creating like these invisible thematic keyword columns that are plugging into our brand, like kind of 360 degrees around our brand. And these are building up back-end keyword AI mindshare for the AI systems, AI searchers out there. And so every day we do this, successfully execute methodology, we're actually increasing the probability that we show up here in AI overview. The most premium placement, we cannot purchase this. And so that's a future benefit of execute methodology. Another future benefit of execute methodology is we are actually higher probability that we show up in AI search. So ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Google, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. And this is huge. Increasing its probability every single day is huge because more and more people choose an AI search every single day. Last time I did AI search for Boudoir photographer in the city, I actually looked and it recommended me 3. So I went to look manually on Google and Facebook. Hey, how many boudoir photographers are actually in the city? Dude, there's like 60. So if AI is only recommended 3, we gotta get there. We gotta have so much back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum that AI has to give recommend those positions to us. And you're also like the fact that my current plan is to work with only one boudoir photographer per city. So you're like, and yeah, you can get all these benefits, but also you can prevent your competitors from getting all these benefits, allowing you to build up a massive like AI mindshare gap, back-end AI keyword mindshare gap for the increased probability of recommended through AI overview and recommended through AI search. And you can actually deny your competitors getting that. So basically, you're able to build up a massive gap between you and your competitors, and basically make it so big that current competing boudoir photographers can never achieve it or reach it, and future boudoir photographers can never that come in after AI takes their jobs can never catch you. So you decide you're a first mover on this. You can't miss out, and you actually want you're thinking conversely, if some other peeps, if one of your competitors were to get on the sign up with me first, you would actually lose out on all the benefits. Your competitor would begin all these links page 1. Have so many links page 1 there'd actually be overflown to the future page 2, 3, 4. You would be relegated to page 2 or deeper, and we would obviously have the goal of making you have no chance to ever get to page 1. And then we'd be building a massive keyword, back-end AI keyword kind of momentum, mindshare to get recommended AI overview, Google search, and with all the AI search apps. And for you to compete, you'd actually have to go rederive S-cubed methodology on your own, and you never have any idea if you've derived it. Well, you'd have to drive it for the first time for yourself. You'd never know if you successfully 100% derived it correctly. And then you'd have to equal our execution every single day. And if you did that, you'd simply be maintaining the gap that we've already massively built ahead of you. And then once that happens, you would actually have to 2 to 3x our execution every single day to start closing that gap and pulling that back-end AI mindshare away from me and your competitor's brand back towards you. But since you're not even 100% confident you've derived it correctly in the first place, it's hard to put in that much effort, something you're not confident in. And when you actually think about it, you're like, dude, who's got 80 hours per day to do all this stuff? So you decide, screw that. You're actually going to be the first mover in your city, get all these benefits. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, but when we do open our DMs for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify.